Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone, in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. Standing there was Shion. Mion. She stood there displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during the club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them, the eyes of a raptor. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. I'll only say this one more time. Let go of K-chan and get lost. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't get absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fuck bitch! I fucking bash your head in. Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work. Mion, it's dangerous, so run. I knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. At first it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Around Mion there was already around 7 people gathered. It felt different than people coming out to support a friend. If I had to say why, it was because that group gathered was diverse in age and gender. The 3 thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them, at some point, 4 more people of different clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school, a man wearing a bakery apron, an old lady in house-cleaning schmuck. More and more people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized it, over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa. More and more people from Hinamizawa gathered around. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Go the fuck away! The group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people, completely encircled the faces of the thugs, began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Mion included. That made everything completely unnatural, and depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everyone else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together, back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. All right. What's going on here? What's going on? It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. Oh, officer, good timing. There you go. The extortionists. Caught red-handed. What? Please arrest them. The fuck? This brat's the one that's wrong here. Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course the thugs were furious. But now that it had come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Okay. Come over here for a second. Come on already. The officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them toward the patrol cars. "The fuck, let me go! We're the victims here, are you listening, damn it?" No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the two vehicles. They could still be heard yelling well inside the police cars. But what they were saying no longer intelligible. "Are you alright?" "I technically know who you are, but I don't know if we've met in this timeline." "Are you injured?" He was probably a detective. The man leading the police peered at my face. "No, not really." "I don't know what sound that is." "Well, that's a bit of a silver lining then." "Well then, have a good year. Thank you." The portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. "Thank you, citizens, for your timely report. Thanks to your efforts, we are able to keep the peace today. It's a wonderful thing." Again, I don't know how to make whatever that sound is. "Thank you for your hard work, Detective Oishi. As a citizen, I thank you for your daily efforts." It's an honor for a detective from the 1st Division to come out all this way. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. I couldn't tell via the text. It was a coincidence. I happened to hear the call over the radio on my way back from the prefectural office. I just made a little detour. Please keep up the good work. I pray for success in your future endeavors. Again, how do you make that noise? Ah, shucks. It's a good thing there were no injuries, though. Oishi-san, we're done here. Let's go. Well then, have a good year. I'm sorry, could you make way? The detective named Oishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. It quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. I didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. After making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her fingers sharply. "Alright, that's a wrap. And don't come back." That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. A middle-aged man helped me up. "Thank you. Are you okay, young Mabara?" "I'm okay, though I'm not sure how you know my name. I feel kind of bad. I mean, if I've already met you and I don't remember you, I'm sorry. Next time, pick your fights a bit better." Yeah. I might need to start carrying a baseball bat or something. It's not like I wanted to fight. Are you hurt anywhere? My pride. If you hit your head, it would be a good idea to get an x-ray taken. An older lady I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. "Well, thank you. You were lucky this happened right in front of the station when it was busy. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to gather as many people. I appreciate it. Next time, be more careful." "I will do. City kids these days are pretty unruly. That they are," grumbled. "How do you make a grumble noise?" I was even warned by the old lady in her smock. Ah. Thank you, but at the same time, sad face. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. Well, you're pretty good, Kei-chan." I feel confused. But I also think you should be more careful about who you pick a fight with. Thanks, Mion. You saved my bacon there. She's like, "I'm Shion!" Like I said, I'm Shion. She made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment. Okay, it's not that I'm not remembering that you're Shion, it's that I still think that you're pretending to be someone else, and Kei-chan has not acknowledged that you actually are two separate people. Also, sorry for, worrying about certain things about further on in the game, but all the Hinamizawa syndrome stuff does not occur until after the festival, so... And technically in the previous chapter of the game, I went insane and beat Mion and ran it to death with a baseball bat. So... I think later on in the anime, Kaiichi does have... People eventually start remembering parts of different loops. And honestly, I'll say this. Some people would feel upset by this. You know, like demasculating. And on one hand, like, oh, it's kind of sucks that I suck. Like, I'm not capable of winning fights and stuff. But same time, I wouldn't take it personally in regards to... Like, I could... What's the best way to put this? I wouldn't have, like, an ego issue in terms of a woman who has power. Like, I would... Like, whether it be Wonder Woman or Power Girl or something. Like, I guess at the end of the day, the biggest question would be, would the woman in question think less of me? And of course, many women would. So at the end of the day, my concern isn't with my own pride so much as, does the other person respect me? Now everyone's like, what is this coming from? Simply put is this. Obviously, I'm thankful that Shion saved us, and I appreciate that, and I definitely wouldn't say no to this. But the question is, you know, and I don't think she thinks any less of me in that situation, because Shion or Mion, either one, I think would be actually fairly good people about that. They're good friends. And I'll say this. I still would date Shion. I have no issue with her. One, she's beautiful. Two, she's a really nice person. And three, I mean, it doesn't bother my own personal ego. Even if she had, like, beat the crap out of the guys herself. That being said, I think the only reason why I would have a negative issue with Shion would be primarily because of the stuff I know because of the anime. So, because of stuff I'm not supposed to know yet in this part of the story, because I'm spoiled due to the animes, multiple, plural, there's multiple anime of this game, like 4 of them. And I don't mean just seasons, I mean different versions, and again, this game will have a lot of repeating stuff just because, you know, loops. But in this game, you know, for most of it, no one should remember that loops are occurring. And usually if they do start realizing it's toward the end of a loop. But, like I'd say, I think Shion looks perfect. I think she's a nice personality of a person and make both a great friend platonically as well as a romantic girlfriend. That being said, there's a primary and a secondary reason why I would not be interested in dating her. Primary reason is because of the stuff I know from the anime. But again, that stuff hasn't occurred yet, and even then I shouldn't even know about it being a possibility. And that's due to the circumstances of Hinamizawa, which has like multiple explanations. There's a version of the anime where it's literally just bad circumstances occurring. There's also actual straight up Hinamizawa syndrome where there's actual brain-eating parasites that are native to this region of the country that are very rare, and they're so rare that scientists don't actually know about them. The only scientist that actually knows about them died about a year or two before Kaiichi got here. And the other thing is usually when the subject dies, the parasite like dissolves away, so it's very hard. So you can only find evidence of the parasite if you did brain surgery on the person while they're still alive. Because as soon as they die, it immediately dissolves. But technically, we're on the second loop. This is chapter 2 with Tanagashi. And, well, in the first loop, we got affected by it, so we kind of went a little insane. And eventually it ended with, Kaiichi, us, beating Mion, Shion's slightly older sister, and Rena to death with a baseball bat. To be fair, we were hallucinating that they had a hypodermic needle and were going to drug and murder us. There's also a third explanation in the anime where there's supernatural ghosts, aliens. Like, apparently there's, aliens that came from another planet, dimension, that are also ghosts. And then there's also a version where there's, vengeful spirits from, 400 years ago. But then there's ghosts, and the ghosts became gods. So, and then there's also versions where all this stuff is happening simultaneously. So you have both ghosts, demons, gods, aliens, brain parasites. I'm just saying, primary reason why I would not be interested in Shion is because of stuff that hasn't happened yet, and I only know about because of the anime, where Shion later is, trying to murder everyone, and is gone completely psycho. But again, that's par for the course with this game. I'm sorry I'm spoiling all of Higurashi for everybody. But Higurashi is basically, it's a story that happens on loops to where everyone comes together, they meet each other through slightly different circumstances, and then one of us gets the good old Russian roulette of something causing us to have a psychotic break, and then we murder everyone else. And then once everyone's dead, the story resets to the beginning, and somebody else gets to go insane. Last chapter was me. This chapter, I'm pretty sure it's Shion. I know eventually Rika kills everyone, eventually Rena kills everyone. And here's the thing. A large reason why we were killing everyone in the previous, peanut butter jelly time with the baseball bat was because we were hallucinating that Rena and Mion were going psycho and trying to kill us. But in later loops, it won't be an hallucination. It will actually be Rena or Mion going fucking psycho and killing each other, and then me. So there'll be a version of where Rena kills Mion, then kills me, and then version where Mion kills Rena, then kills me. And of course, now we have Shion, and there's two people. That actually are two separate people, but Kaiichi, thinks he's being lied to. And then maybe later on think it's a split personality to where there's actually just one person, but they think it's two people. And then and I know eventually there's a part where Shion kidnaps her sister Mion and locks her in a basement in a cave and pretends to be her. But again, none of that's happened yet. The parts where everyone's going fucking psycho, doesn't happen until after the festival, which has not happened yet. I wonder how that's always a crazy thing. One, obviously I'm spoiled because of the anime, which, again, I'm fine with because I really enjoy the anime when I haven't watched it in such a long time. But also, anime aside, I'm already kind of spoiled because, again, we're in Chapter 2 with Tanagashi. And, well, Chapter 1, we got to see it from the point of view of Kaiichi having issue, and again, that hasn't exactly been spoiled. We still think from our perspective that Rena, because I only know because of stuff in the anime, and that later on it gets revealed that it was actually a marker and a prank going on, and a misunderstanding. But from our point of view in Chapter 1, we still have every reason to believe that Rena and Mion were actually trying to murder us. Though, of course, in later versions of the game, later chapters, they actually will be trying to murder us. It won't be an hallucination. But I think that's part of the appeal of this sort of genre or game, is that you really don't actually know what's actually happening. You don't know what situations you're being paranoid about and which ones you're actually, taking responsible, reasonable reactions to. Because obviously if people are trying to murder you and stab you with a hypodermic needle and drug you, obviously fighting back violently is the correct choice. But I think part of the game is not knowing exactly what's happening. Though honestly, in my opinion, the best part of the game is really the characters. Like, whether we're dealing with the original artwork or the modern artwork, which I prefer the modern anime artwork, there's, just the characters. They're not only their design and how they're drawn, but also just their personalities. And I think that's the best thing, especially with a game that's involving the same characters over and over in very similar situations. The only reason why Higurashi works so well as a story is because the characters are so enjoyable. They're so... I don't want to say likable, that's technically true. Interesting. They're so alive. They're interesting. That's like Shion and Mion individually, as well as all the characters. It's the characters being so interesting that, is the biggest appeal. But I'd say primary reason why I would not, honestly, like I said, as is right now, from the perspective of Keiichi at this moment, like I said, from the moment I met Shion, yeah, I would definitely like her. Now, obviously, she is a bit of a yandere for Satoshi, Satoko's older brother, who is technically dead at this point, and later on has a psychotic break where she starts murdering everyone, including her own sister and me, which is obviously very terrible and horrible. So obviously knowing that sort of meta-knowledge that I shouldn't know, I wouldn't be interested in dating Shion because there's that association with very unpleasant things. Because obviously, I'll say this. While I would not have any issue with dating somebody who is perhaps more... I don't know. What's the correct terminology? Capable in the power dynamic or whatever? Whether it be to getting people to her cause or even if she was physically... say if she had superpowers. I'm not, demasculated by that. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of a pride issue for myself, but it's not like I would hold that against her. My only issue with her in regard to that would be, does she think less of me? If she doesn't, then honestly, I don't care. Now, that being said, my primary reason is, yeah, I know stuff from the anime, and that's very unsavory stuff. Now, the secondary reason is more so personal trauma on my part. Now, if we're talking back, 14-year-old me, 16-year-old me, 18-year-old me, 20-year-old me, even 22-year-old me, and I'm meeting Mion and Shion, and given whatever scenario we're in, let's say we're the same age. So say if back in the, if I was 22-year-old me and I had a 22-year-old Shion in front of me, then, yeah, I'd be perfectly happy having a relationship with her. That being said, my marriage was terrible and horrible. And I still have a 3-inch scar on my right arm to remember last Christmas being married to my ex-wife by. So, yeah. And it's even though I was always physically stronger than my ex-wife, it's just, I'm not a violent or aggressive person. Heck, I've only ever hurt anybody in self-defense or defense of another. And when it comes to women, I haven't even done it in those situations. Even in self-defense, I have not struck a woman. ever. That being said, it's more of an issue of if you're with someone, you want to be able to trust somebody. You want to be able to feel safe with someone. Like, even if Shion had physically beat the shit out of, those guys, as long as I never felt that, she would ever, be a threat to me, like she would ever decide. Because, there's a big difference between her being aggressive in terms of wanting to protect me, as opposed to being aggressive towards me. Heck, I'm bisexual, though that was more so something I'm learning about myself maybe a few years after I got divorced. That being said, to a large degree, I would rather be gay than ever be with someone like my ex-wife again. And again, my ex-wife was definitely not anything like Shion or Mion in terms of personality. And yeah, she was definitely not capable of anything in regards to organizing a group of people or being physically capable herself. Like, she was definitely not someone capable of fighting. Like, I'm definitely a better fighter than she is, and I'm definitely far stronger in every way than her. But I'm not an aggressive person, and of course, I'm not exactly the kind of person who would, want to be violent toward anyone, let alone, someone you're in a relationship with. Heck, in general, when it comes to relationships or around anybody, if someone starts being aggressive or that kind of way toward me, I just don't want to be around them. Though, of course, in that situation, I was married and had to also worry about a child. So, to a large degree, I'll say this. I was never more alone than when I was married. And I'll say that a good thing about avoiding dating anybody with a vagina ever again is I'll never have to go through another divorce, and I'll never have to have my family taken away from me. I'll never have to lose another family. That, and yes, I do like dick. Heck, at this point, I feel like the ideal... I would like Shion, but futa. Cock and balls. I'm just saying, she looks very pretty. Everyone's like, what is happening? I'm making everyone listening to this extraordinarily uncomfortable. But, yeah, it's just... I'd say there'd be two reasons why I'd be hesitant about dating Shion if presented this situation. Though obviously, if it was real life, and of course it was just younger me and I didn't have certain experiences, then, yeah, I'd be absolutely gung-ho to date Shion. Especially if, she was interested. My own low self-esteem joke aside. But, yeah, primary reason, stuff I know from the anime. Secondary reason, my own personal trauma issues, as well as trust issues. Like, at the end of the day, it's simply an issue of, I don't hate women, I just don't want to pursue a romantic relationship with anybody with a vagina, because I just don't feel I can trust or feel safe with such a person. Because at the end of the day is this. I don't want to go through another divorce. I don't want to be stuck in a legally binding contract called marriage with somebody who would turn out to be abusive. Verbally, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Like, I just don't want to be stuck in a situation where I'm legally bound to somebody who would be abusive to me in any way. And granted, of course, predominantly verbal, but still, verbal abuse is not pleasant. Especially when it's coming from somebody that you thought you could trust and someone you thought cared about you. Like, betrayal does not come from your enemies, so... But it's not like I'm mean to anybody, it's just more so aware of, well, very bad possibilities. Which, of course, I guess technically the primary reason, knowing what Shion does in some versions of the anime, it's more so I'm more emotionally hesitant about the idea of dating Shion because of information that doesn't actually involve her. It's actually a future her. And again, like I said in a previous loop, I beat the shit out of Rena and Mion. And keep in mind, these technically are two separate people. But Keiichi technically thinks they're the same person, pretending to be different people. But, yeah, it's just... One, the primary reason, because stuff I know from the anime, but secondary reason, my own personal trauma issues. Like, and don't get me wrong, there are so many times I've tried to ask women out since my divorce. Been rejected every time. I didn't even plan to, as far as asking people out. Just, you see a cute girl and you try to talk to them and be sociable. Even though I'm, like, largely feel emotionally put off from the idea of trying to date anyone. But it's just the idea of, I don't want to ever go through another divorce again. I don't want to ever be in a situation where, I'm with somebody who's verbally or physically abusive. I don't want to ever have to deal with an adulterous fucking wife again. And most of all, even though the day my son was born was the happiest day of my life, I don't want to ever have children taken away from me again. I miss my son very much. At least he's safe and happy where he is. He's with his grandparents on his mom's side. And that's what matters most. I love him very much. I just want what's best for him. And he is what's best for him. But I'll tell you, having to worry about the safety of your child from their own mother is a very upsetting feeling. And whether it comes in terms of the marriage or the divorce situation, when it comes to worrying how your spouse is in regard to your child, that's a terrible feeling. Though I also have so many happy memories of when my son was young at that age. Heck, I was looking at a water tank at work, and it just made me think of when I had a little kiddie pool for my son when he was a toddler. He had a lot of fun with that. But I don't think he's actually ever gone swimming, so I don't think he knows how to swim yet. Then again, even though I used to be trained as a BSA, I was trained as a lifeguard back when I was a teenager. I haven't actually gone physically swimming myself in like a decade. But I guess the main thing I'm saying is this. I feel like what I would want most in a partner is somebody I feel safe with. Someone who I feel would never ever hurt me under any circumstance. And it's not like an issue of masculinity or ego or pride when it comes to that. I don't mind, a partner that's multiple times stronger than me. I wouldn't mind that. After all, I've been physically stronger than every partner I've ever been with, and yet, there's a concern about whether or not you feel safe with or around that person, because even though I'd be physically stronger than somebody else, it doesn't mean that, I wouldn't be scared of the other person physically hurting me. And it doesn't mean verbal abuse doesn't hurt. So, I guess, I know it sounds lame, but it's just the thing that you want someone you feel safe with. Someone who wants you to be safe. Who cares about your safety. In fact, wants you to feel safe around them. And I don't know. what's the best way to describe this? Like, I don't mind someone else being capable of, like, whether somebody was like in the military or like had skills or stuff. I don't mind that. It would just, I would want to feel that they would never use those skills against me. That I would want to feel that whether it be somebody I'm platonically just friends with or romantically in a relationship with, especially someone you're romantic with, I would want it to feel that that person would never ever hurt me under any circumstance. Nor would I want them to be verbally abusive. And again, I understand sometimes in relationships or friendships, arguments or disagreements could happen. But it shouldn't be the predominant, like, it shouldn't be too frequent or too severe. Like, there should be certain lines in terms of how often it should ever happen. And there should be certain lines that shouldn't get crossed in terms of verbal abuse or physical abuse or violence or threats or ultimatums. And I guess, like, that's a big issue. Like, one, I am bisexual. I do like dick. I do like balls. Technically, I think futa is more attractive and more of a but again, you know, futa, bishonen, femboy, woman, they're all equally attractive. Yeah. Just cute bishonen guy, that'd be fine. Though in general, I've been alone for such a long period of time. And even then also, parents, you know, especially dad being a deacon, that's something I'm still very worried about how that would be, you know, taken. And of course, I've imagined every worst case scenario with that as being a definitive possibility. So definitely very worried there a lot. And even then, I'm also kind of really old. Also doesn't help that I'm fat and ugly. So I may just, even if I decide to be openly bi, I'll probably still be alone forever anyway, but it's just, it's like the weird way to say, like, if I was to date someone like Shion, like, honestly, I think in physical appearance, she looks perfect. It's just, I think I'd prefer her to have a dick and balls to having a vagina. But I think to a large degree, it's also, I have a bit of an aversion to dating anyone with a vagina just because it's just, I guess, like a trauma sort of response. Like, just because my experience with my ex-wife was just really, really bad. And it's just, I just don't ever want to go through any of that ever again. I don't want to ever go through a divorce again. I don't want to ever have to deal with an adulterous wife again. I don't want to ever, you know, be stuck in a legally binding contract with someone who's abusive, who's psychotic and insane. And I'm just glad me and my son are alive. And it's just, to a large degree, it's just, I don't want to have kids ever again. Because one, I don't, like, what is, how could I ever be okay with ever having children again, knowing that whatever kids I have will probably just be taken away from me again? Or that I'll be in a marriage where I have to worry about, you know, my wife mistreating or neglecting my child while I'm at work. And again, I understand not all women are like that. I understand. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying the fact that it's even a possibility at all is terrifying and painful. And I will not go through that again. I cannot go through that again. I've talked about it a bit in depth in the past, and like I said, I don't hate my ex-wife. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. I just don't want to ever see or talk to her ever again. And I don't want to ever go through that kind of experience ever again. So, but yeah, in terms of physical appearance and in personality, I think Shion is perfect. I think she's great. Obviously, the only things I'm holding against her are stuff that happens later on in the story that I don't even know about yet, that I shouldn't know about yet, that happened due to supernatural as well as, extreme situations and like brain parasites and stuff. So technically, none of the people in Hinamizawa are really, and in some situations, actual straight up possession. Sometimes by ghosts, sometimes by aliens, sometimes with actual god beings, like goddesses of like shrines, or like possessing people. So, and of course, there's sometimes where the people become aware of multiple loops, and obviously I can understand a person having a mental issue if they're like having awareness of multiple realities, especially if all those realities involve very traumatic things. Almost like Levi Angstrom from Invincible. Still kind of dick move that he did, though. But I'm just saying, the only things I'm holding against Shion in this situation are things that she doesn't deserve to be held against her. There's stuff that happens that she, in a future version of the game, after the events of Hinamizawa Syndrome take place with the festival of Otanagashi. So technically that stuff hasn't happened yet and only happens due to supernatural stuff. And the second thing I'm holding against her is negative experiences I've had in my own personal life that were done by other people that are not her. Because she's a fictional person, and it's not like I'm blaming the fictional person for real life events. It's that I'm saying that if I was in this game, like if I was in Keiichi's situation right now, from the moment I met Shion, I was talking about how I would, have tried to get her phone number. Heck, even if it was just a Mion thing, as long as I didn't think it was like a split personality issue and she was like a mental health issue. Because at that point, I don't want to be stabbed. Just a personal preference. Not getting stabbed. But I'm just saying, I'm basically holding two things against Shion that she doesn't deserve me to hold against her. One being stuff that happens in the future that hasn't happened yet, that happens due to supernatural alien ghost brain parasites. And secondly, I'm holding against her my own personal life in the real world where things happened that I took very traumatically. But I've talked about it in depth before. Just, at the end of the day is this. Abuse is not good. Neither is going through a divorce or having your son no longer live with you. I did everything I could to be the best husband and, most of all, the best father and dad I could be. Heck, people criticized me as being an overprotective and overly doting father. I would constantly read stories to my son. I'd give him hugs every day, told him I love him every day. I changed his diapers, gave him baths, fed him. I'd sing him lullabies. I took him to the park. Tried to be at every doctor's appointment I could be. Heck, I remember when he had to have tubes put in his ears when he was young. I was so anxious and worried and scared for him. But I was there for him through the whole thing. He looked so groggy after the ear surgery. It's like slowly giving him some watered down apple juice, since that's what the doctor suggested, and wait until the doctor said it was okay. It's just... It's funny. At the time of the surgery and everything, my ex-wife didn't care. You know, we were still married at the time, and she wasn't worried about him at all. In fact, she thought it was stupid that I was worried, and she insulted me for it. But even though I was trying to hide most of my emotions on that, but I was terrified. You know, my son was going to be having a surgery. I was really worried about him. Plus, it just... But, that's the least of all the concerns given everything that happened. It's funny, even when I was going through divorce, I was doing everything I could to try to save that marriage. When really, there was really no reason why I should, but I still tried my best to save that marriage. I kept blaming myself for everything. And above all, I didn't want to lose my son. And at least everything worked out for the best. We're alive. And he's in a safe place. The people that he lives with take good care of him. He's safe, he's happy. I miss him. And I've technically gotten to the point of being alienated from my son. But I'm hoping that'll get better as time goes on. But most of all is this: he's happy where he is, he's safe where he is, he's healthy where he is, he has everything he needs, he's well taken care of, he's loved. They love him as if he were their own son, and they take very good care of him. And heck, I'd say my physical and mental health has deteriorated since my divorce, so... Though I've always tried to be as involved as I could be, but, of course, as time goes on, I don't really have a say in anything. I pay the child support to them, and they at least use it on him, so I can't complain. I feel like he's not turning out the way I'd want him to. I feel like maybe it's just normal for a kid, but it's just... so many things worry and concern me, and I feel completely powerless and helpless about anything. Then again, that's the best way to describe my marriage. I felt fucking like life was fucking hopeless, it was powerless, helpless. Like I was just constantly walking on eggshells. Like I was just constantly trying to do damage control. I was just trying to make my marriage work. I just wanted to try to do the best possible life for my son possible. I really was trying my best to be the best dad I could be. I really wanted to be the best father in the world to him. I will always love him. And if he ever wants to talk to me in the future, which again I hope improves, but I will always love him and I'll always be there for him. Anytime he wants to talk to me, anytime he needs to see me, anytime he needs me, I'm there for him. It's just, I miss him. I really enjoyed every moment I took him to the park or read a story to him. I never once took him for granted. The day he was born was the happiest day of my life. And I did everything I could to be the best dad I could be for him. But my marriage went to shit. My wife turned into a psychotic, abusive bitch, and she cheated on me, and of course we went through a divorce. And part of going through a divorce is you lose your family. That's what happens. I don't miss my ex-wife at all, but I miss my son very much. And I'm at least glad he's safe from her. But again, it's not fair to Shion. But, yeah. And I guess if I were to actually meet an actual woman and me and her were to hit it off okay, I mean, I wouldn't hold any of this stuff against her, but at the same time, whether it's paranoia or me being much less naive than I was in the past, plus in general, just pretty sure depression's gotten worse since then, just genetically, let alone through extenuating circumstances. Plus, I'm kind of old. I'm probably too old to be trying to have kids now, right? 38 now. But it's just, my ear itches. I have candy here. I'll eat some candy. Some chocolate. I know, it's probably a bit annoying to eat into the microphone. I just felt I needed some chocolate. It's actually good chocolate too. It's dark chocolate. It's that Brookside stuff. But apparently it's like Brook, acai, and blueberry. Soft fruit flavored centers covered in smooth dark chocolate. I will probably eat the rest of this bag after the video. I just don't want to eat to the microphone. I kind of felt I needed to. Besides, I didn't eat most of my day at work last night since I had to do some blood work this morning after work. So they wanted me to fast for a while before after that. So technically, this candy that I just ate, since it is like 10:15, is the first thing I've eaten in 10 hours. So I was a little hungry, okay? Also, the chocolate's really good. But yeah. Bisexual now. Still haven't actually dated anybody though. And in general, probably still a bit of paranoia. Heck, a slight tick, I guess you can call it. Something I've had even since long before my relationship, just because, like I said, I got bullied a lot in school, and I got shit beat out of me a lot. I mean, heck, there was a point where like 5 people beat the shit out of you when I was like 13 behind a convenience store. So like half hour plus to an hour of just being punched thousands of times and kicked in the ribs and your head stomped on and slammed into a brick wall and on and stuff like that. Just kind of sucks. Heck, I had like a bruise about 1.5 inches out, 2 inches on my left temple, I think. It's hard to remember. And granted, that's like forever ago, like 25 years, I think. But it's still, I'm just saying. Granted, I think I do a good job of hiding it, but like I have a tendency to like flinch if someone raises a hand around me, even if it's like non-aggressively. So, heck, people tend to criticize me a lot, saying there's something wrong with me for how not aggressive I am. I don't like fighting. I don't like arguments. I don't like yelling. Heck, I don't really yell at people. I'll yell at video games. Oh, I'll yell the fuck at video games a lot. Or, like, sometimes I'll, like, stub my toe or hit my hand on something, like I'm trying to do something at work, and sometimes I'll actually hit my hand on a piece of metal because I'm trying to move something around something in order to do my job, and then I'll accidentally just bump into something and hit, like, my elbow or my hand on a piece of metal, and I'll cuss. I'll be like, God damn it, motherfucking Jesus fucking Christ! Because, that hurts, and ow. Then again, also, sometimes I'll meow. Is that just part of aging at this point? You just get more gay and you meow more as you get older? Heck, it wasn't until like a few years after my divorce I started like acknowledging that I might be bisexual. But it's like part of it is trauma, like avoiding, like in general, I don't want to date women anymore because it was a really bad experience. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want to go through another divorce. I don't want to have, any of the terrible situations happen again. Whether it's worrying about my child's well-being or having my child taken away from me or having to deal with things like a divorce court or family court or child custody. Like, all of that is horrible. I don't want to ever go through any of that again. And it's just... And just also acknowledging that, yeah, I do like cock and balls. I do like that stuff, and apparently I've liked it for a while. Just sort of ignored it. What can I say? Religious upbringing, okay? That and, well, I guess just a very withdrawn, introverted individual. Did try to ask out a lot of women throughout my entire life. Heck, I'd say over the course of my entire life, I probably got rejected by over 10,000 women. And heck, even the circumstances for the women I did date, even marry, that's very unusual, but I've already explained those in depth. Heck, I'll say this. While I can truthfully say I really loved my ex-wife when I married her. And I married her because I loved her. I can also say that had I not married her, I would have never had a wife. I would have never had a child. And I really, really wanted a family so badly. But I did my best, so I can at least take solace that I did my best in regard to all of that stuff, whether it being a husband or being a father. It's just... I don't want to ever go through any of those bad things ever again. And in general, like, if I were to be dating somebody with a vagina, emotionally, I'm going to be thinking about that kind of stuff as a possibility that, hey, that, like you're subconsciously even, though I guess this point's a bit more overt than subconscious, relating that stuff to the very bad things that you kind of feel are inevitable. Like, you kind of feel like it's a 100% chance that you're going to get divorced and that it's going to be really, really bad. And it's just, again, I can't. It's more than just I will not go through that again. I can't. I cannot go through that again. It's too much. I can't go through any of that again. Though, I will say, both Asuka, Langley, Soryu from Evangelion, as well as Kaoru, Nagase Kaoru from Evangelion, both of them are cute. Though I guess at that point, you might like Asuka more if you like German. Though, would Kaoru be German? I don't know. Not sure. I'm just saying, offhand, like my base emotional response is that I would want either a Bishonen, guy version of Shion, or, Futa, for her to have a cock and balls instead of a vagina. Partly because I'd feel more comfortable with it, and it'd be less of a reminder of something traumatic, which I don't, again, it just sounds extremely lame. But also, I do like cock. And honestly, I think that I would rather suck a dick than eat a vagina. Granted, I have eaten my fair share of vagina. I feel I was fairly good at it. As much as anyone could be when it comes to, something that honestly shouldn't be that hard for anybody, but who knows? Maybe some people struggle with that. I don't know. I'm just saying in terms of what I think would sound pleasant. No. Granted, both would be better clean, obviously. Then again, very easy on my part. I take 15 showers a week. I like showering. I'm like fucking Vegeta standing in the rain. But I'm just saying offhand, I like Shion in both, mind and body. I think her personality is really nice. I like her as a person. And physically, I think she looks perfect. I mean, the woman standing here in front of us, I think she looks very, very pretty. And yeah, I definitely give her a solid 10 out of 10. But yeah, I guess the main thing I'm saying is I have my own personal misgivings towards Shion. One, because of the stuff that happens later on in the anime where she does very bad things. And secondly, because of my own personal experiences in my own previous relationships, especially my ex, marriage, which was, let's just say, my experiences with that is regardless of whatever gender I ever date in the future, I don't care how much I ever love, trust, or feel safe with somebody, I am never marrying anyone ever again. Period. Now that being said, eventually I will date when I, am okay with being openly bisexual. Still concerned about how I would discuss that with my parents, and even then, even if I did become openly bisexual, I would never be allowed, one, that's even if assuming the best case scenario of them being accepting of it, even if the best case scenario were to occur, I would still never be able to bring my partner over, ever. I mean, heck, my eldest sister, back when she was alive, had an eyebrow piercing, and she was required by Jesus Christ, and I know that may sound a bit crazy to say it that way, but that's basically kind of the way my parents viewed it, or still technically would view it if, my sister wasn't dead. But I keep saying things that make me sad. But anyway, she had an eyebrow piercing, and especially Dad, he cared much more strongly about this than Mom did. But he felt it was necessary by the will of Jesus Christ that she had to physically take out her eyebrow piercing before being allowed to step foot in the house. Again, it may sound a bit excessive, strict, or insane, and believe you, whatever the expression goes, I agree with you. It does sound excessive, strict, and insane. I'm just saying I feel like that same energy would also apply to me if I was openly bi, and that's assuming even the best case scenario of them being accepting of it. Honestly, I've considered the possibility they may physically attack me, but again, that may be paranoia on my part, but also just, or heck, whether or not Dad might think I need an exorcism. That maybe I'm only bisexual because I'm possessed by demons. Or, there could be lots of yelling. I mean, in general, I feel like the main negative reaction would be from Dad, but I really don't care about how he feels. I care about how my mom feels. Because I love my mom very, very much, and I don't want my mom to hate me, or to think I'm disgusting, or to be disappointed in me, or to think I'm gross, or hate me, or not love me anymore. So at that point, it's more I'm more upset by worrying about how my mom would feel and react in regards to me than my loneliness or not being with anyone or having, the sexual partners that I would like. If that makes sense. I'm just saying I value my mom caring about me and respecting me and being proud of me more than, me having companionship. If that makes sense. It's just, at the end of the day, I'm bisexual, but it's more so saying, like, okay, you like cute guys, you like cute girls. You technically like both vagina and dick, but you actually think dick would be better. And also, you do have, like, a sort of trauma, emotional PTSD feeling in regards to your past relationships. That kind of almost is like dating someone with a vagina is like, a mouse looking at a mousetrap. That's like, it's like, well, you've seen how the mousetrap has killed mice. And it's even then, it's just like, there's a lot of bad circumstances out there. And again, not all women, and I certainly don't hate women, and I certainly wouldn't want to, like, harm anyone. I'm a very non-aggressive person. It's more so, I just generally don't want to pursue any kind of romantic relationship with anyone with a vagina. Very non-confrontational, non-aggressive person when it comes to that. So if something's bothering me, I'm more so just going to avoid it and find an alternative that would make me happy. So at the end of the day, it's like if you feel that there is no woman available that I would feel safe with or even be wanted or loved, because let's be honest, honestly, there's no woman that would probably want me, but again, that's just icing on that cake of logical reasoning of making a decision. But at the end of the day, it's just, and of course I've thought about a lot more in depth on that in terms of, well, it's like, in what way, am I better off in a relationship than being alone? And, what are the pros and cons between dating different genders and all that? It's just like, and really, like, the main thing I can see that's like the best thing about, like, say, Shion here is she has a great personality and she's a really nice person and she's really hot. Like, I'm just saying, if it weren't for the other concerns about what happens later on in Higurashi, and if it wasn't for my own emotional baggage, yes, absolutely, 10 out of 10. If she would actually be interested in me, because, I honestly don't have a very high estimation of my own value, but if someone like this actually liked me in the past, then, yeah, I would be extraordinarily happy and gung-ho for it. But, between my own emotional baggage in real life, as well as the fact that this character in the game, I know via anime information I shouldn't have, it definitely clouds that judgment. I guess one thing is this. I would like someone... Heck, I would want to walk on bike trails a lot. It'd be nice if I had somebody who liked to walk on bike trails with me. Someone that I actually felt safe with. Because that's the thing. I feel like if there's somebody I'm going to be romantic with, I want to actually be good friends with them too. I feel sex should be part of an emotional bond. I feel like, physical intimacy is supposed to be a representation of emotional intimacy, of feeling trust and safety with someone, of an emotional bond with someone who actually enjoys my company, someone I feel safe with, someone I actually am safe with, someone who actually cares about my thoughts and feelings, someone who is very affectionate, both in terms of physical touch, both just comforting touch, as well as sexual touch, as well as affectionate in terms of personality. After all, nobody wants to be in a relationship with somebody who is emotionally cold and distant. And I tend to be a hyper-affectionate fucking puppy, apparently. Especially with some of my early relationships, and it's just, I like showing and receiving affection. And I don't like fighting or arguments, and I just don't like, people have criticized me as being, I'm too mellow. Apparently, the main thing people see as wrong with me is I have too mellow of a temperament, but that's just, and apparently I have odd hobbies, like going for walks and bike trails. And people say it doesn't even accomplish anything. You don't make money doing that. I'm like, yeah, I understand. It's not accomplishing anything. But I just like it, okay? I just like to go to the bike trail and just go for a walk. I don't even listen to music while I'm walking out there. I just like to go for a walk on the bike trail. But yeah, people tend to feel like I tend to have a too mellow of a temperament, but that's just how I am. Heck, in general, my life is, I go to work, and when I'm not at work, aside from doing these Let's Plays, I play some video games, I read manga, I read light novels, I watch Let's Plays of other people doing stuff, I watch YouTube videos from people like Asmongold or Smugalana, Kirsch, Nuxanor, Nuxtaku, Rev, various VTubers, listen to lots of music. I do have a keyboard, guitar, and books on drawing. Don't really get around to it. I'm wanting to learn German. And I do try to go to the gym, but I seem to not make any progress with that. Heck, I still feel like I'm really fucking fat. I am 5 foot 11 inches, and I am 204 pounds. I feel like my belly is too big. I feel like my arms are too small. I feel like my dick is not big enough. Heck, testosterone levels gone down as I've gotten older. And heck, I really just don't have the same emotional response to stuff as I do in the past. And I don't know if it's psychological, physiological, or chemical, or probably all three. I don't know. I'm at least sleeping better than I was in the past. I don't know. I will say this. I think Astolfo from Fate is cute. I also think Sylvia from Konosuba is cute. I also think Aqua is cute. I also think Megumin is cute. I also think Darkness is cute. I also think Albedo from Overlord is cute. I also think Milm is cute from Reincarnated as a Slime. Oh, and Shion from Reincarnated as a Slime. Though she's got some really big titties. Then again, Sylvia's got some real big titties too. Also a big dick and big balls. And a very pretty face. And some nice thighs. A nice ass. Welcome to Lunar Discussion 101 with Lunar D8. And everyone's like, we thought Higurashi was psychological horror before, but then Lunar started talking. And everyone wished he would stop. Then again, who am I kidding? One, who even came across this video to begin with? And even then, even if you did, why would you have listened to me say all this? Like, this has to be the most boring and annoying thing on the internet. I am the most cringe, most cursed, most pointless person for you to find. And like I said, I don't even make money doing this. I never will. I'm not monetized. I never will be monetized. I could have 1 million subscribers, and YouTube could be like begging me to get monetized. Which again, I don't know why the fuck they ever would want me to get monetized. I am so fucking awkward and cringe. Like, what advertiser would want to be on my fucking video? But like I said, even if I had 1 million subscribers, I still wouldn't want to get monetized. I'd still actively say no. And I could use the money, definitely, but no, I don't want this channel to be about that. I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to make a video to pay rent or something. This is just what I do because I like doing it. I just like making videos. Even though they're apparently really awkward. But that's just par for the course for me. Being awkward. But yeah, I'm not monetized. I've never made a cent from this channel. I never will make a cent. I'll never have merchandise or sponsors or super chats. I'll just be that crazy guy on the internet talking to his computer and annoying all of you. Also being really bad at karaoke. I enjoy singing, but I'm bad at it. But I enjoy it. But I guess just, I don't know. Anyone else relate to that? You just, in terms of, you want a partner that you feel safe with. Someone you think's cute. Someone who's very affectionate. Someone who likes giving and receiving affection. Someone who cares about your thoughts and feelings. Someone you feel like is like your best friend. Someone who just enjoys spending time with you. And will like give you some alone time you want. Like if you want to just do something by yourself for a while, that's fine. You know, they don't necessarily have to be a fucking yandere. You know, and above all, you know, somebody who would never hurt you or betray you under any circumstance. Someone you can trust and feel safe with. Someone you know loves you and is proud of you and cares about you and respects you. I guess why we got on this tangent was the idea of like I said, I wouldn't mind, you know, a woman who was more physically fit than me or stronger than me or like trained in the military or like had fucking superpowers and like could like bench a fucking tank or something. I wouldn't mind that. My own fucking ego wouldn't be an issue. All I'd care about is 2 things. 1, does she still love and respect me? And 2, would she ever hurt me? And at the end of the day, it's just me wanting to feel accepted and loved and me wanting to feel safe. So, yeah, I think maybe that's true of everybody, regardless of your gender or orientation. You want someone you feel safe with. You want someone you think loves you and is proud of you and is kind to you and is affectionate to you. And above all, someone you trust and someone you feel comfortable around, someone you feel safe with. Someone you could actually be vulnerable with and who would never use your vulnerabilities against you, would never, like, because I know there's some people out there that will actually have conversations and open up to somebody, and then later on that person will, like, throw that stuff back at you in an argument, you know, or they'll lose respect for you on that. I think it'd be nice if you have somebody that you can actually be vulnerable and open up with, who will not lose respect for you, who will not use your vulnerabilities as ways to attack you, and will just care about you and love and respect you just the same. And like I said, aside from my own personal emotional baggage or stuff that we know via the anime, I think Shion's perfect. And above all, I think she's really, really cute. And very, very pretty. Okay, well, I've sufficiently been dumb. Let's continue with this. I heard from my sister. That fur seal keychain was yours, Keijen. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was just heading to the restaurant. And you ended up feeling so excited that you got mixed up in something weird? Now it's my turn, my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on. Well, I was just unlucky. But you really saved me, Shion. You don't have to thank me. So if you see somebody else getting bullied, help them out, okay? We value that kind of thing very highly here. I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie, but the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. I will say this, I'll probably do a new playlist, and I think I need to actually consolidate all the higurashi videos. This will be the first one in that playlist. But I think I need to go through my videos and try to consolidate all my higurashi videos, or at least most of them. That way it's less... Then again, at one point I made a video with a backdrop of a censored higurashi scene. It was a scene where like Ren had stabbed Keiichi to death, but then he had fought back. So technically both of them were laying there covered in blood. But it's a censored version where the blood's turned white to make it seem less violent. But of course then, because instead of blood, it just, you look at that scene like that and you're like, well, it's just cum everywhere. It's just a room covered in cum. But I did a cover of a song by System of a Down that they did as a cooperative song. What's the word? It's not... what's the word? Damn it. What is that word? Wait, no. Collaborate. I know it's co-something. I'm so cooperate. Like, it's a split-screen Halo game. Basically, I want Shion, but Futa with a big dick. And I want to be able to sit and drink some Mountain Dew with her and eat pizza. And play split-screen Halo 3 on Legendary with her. And then me and her can fuck each other and suck each other's dicks. How about that? Okay. I still want a new Halo game, but better than the most recent Halo games, because the most recent Halo games are very disappointing. But I forget what... Alright. System Down did a collaboration with Wu-Tang Clan. It's a song called Shame. So I did a cover of that. I actually made like 14 videos of a bunch of outtakes and stuff. But yeah. Yeah, I'll try to reorganize the higurashi stuff, okay? So it's a little, I don't know, less chaotic. Especially as I really haven't been doing various... how about this? When I get to chapter 3... Because we're still in chapter 2. When we get to chapter 3, I'll try to keep everything in one consolidated playlist and not add other stuff, because I keep adding stuff to playlists because I'm like, hey guys, look at this. I found this video. Look at this. So... But the future chapters, like chapter 3, I'll try to keep them organized, okay? Also, again, that's another thing about... Not only am I spoiled because of the anime, but here's the thing. I played chapter 1, so I'm more familiar with certain characters, and I know about... violent things are going to happen in the game. What I'm saying is this. What if I had been playing this game here, Chapter 2, of the Higurashi series, but what if I had never played any other Higurashi game? Like, what if I skipped... What if I didn't know anything about the anime, and what if I skipped Chapter 1? Because at that point... And what if I didn't know anything about, the darker aspects of the game? Though also I imagine I'd probably be very confused. But, just saying that would be a very different experience. I'm just saying I do plan to do all the Higurashi games. Just, I definitely do need to consolidate the Higurashis that I have done, so it's a little more easy to follow for anyone. For anyone that would want to watch it, if you do, I like it. I'm a bit of a tsundere, so I don't want to admit that I like having viewers, but I do. So if you guys stop by and enjoy the video, yay, but at the same time, there's no professionalism here. It's, how's the way I put it? I promise nothing, I guarantee even less. The only thing consistent about this channel is a complete and total lack of any kind of professionalism. I'm just a guy who just talks to the internet about whatever it is I feel like talking about at that time. While I was helped out, it was honestly to an almost disturbing degree. You're coming into the restaurant, right? I like the attention to detail on her lips. And of course, I like anime eyes. Like I said, I like anime aesthetic. And yeah, I think Shion in general is very, very pretty. You must be tired. So why don't you relax for a bit? My treat. Seems that she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little I realized I was still on edge. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I had been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Here you go, iced coffee on the house. Thank you, Shion. And again, I really, really like this outfit. Yes, if I was dating Shion, I would probably... Then again, I would probably wear the outfit for her too. If she wanted me to. Though the original art style that I showed in the previous video... Damn. But yeah, this outfit is extremely sexy. Okay, I suppose I should probably call it a video. The developer of this game is probably like, Lunar D8 is ruining our video game. Like, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, now that I've ruined everyone's day. Aside from that, thanks. If you've been here for a fucking hour and a half. Oh my god. I guess I got a little carried away. But either way. Thanks for stopping by. Hope everyone has all the hugs and head pats you could ever need. Bye, guys.